I've just come off the lesson with a friend of mine, Paul, who is striking his irons pretty good, but his driver, everywhere. His predominant problem was a slice. Now we managed to get rid of that slice in just 5 shots with a real simple tip that I'm sure will help you. But the problem was, we turned it into a lovely draw initially, but then he overdid it and turned it into a hook. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you, first of all, if you have a slice, how to turn that into a beautiful draw. Secondly, I'm going to show you how you can control that, because you don't want that draw to turn into a hook. You still want to hit the shot nice and straight. I'll show you what we did to help Paul control that. And finally, Paul had a major power leak. That power leak was costing him a stack of yardage. Now, everyone who I see generally has this leak in their swing. It's a real common fault. It's simple to cure, and we managed to add 20 plus yards to his driver with it. I'll share with you exactly what we did in this session. Now, before I do though, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing. Just press that little bell button next to subscribe when you get notified every time I release a video just like this one. Plus, I always put a free downloadable practice guide in the description box below, where you get an opportunity also to have a free swing assessment from myself. So the very first thing I want you to do if you're struggling with driver is to recognize that the golf swing is an arc. It's almost like a swing door that opens on the way back, closes on the way through, and then opens again on the way through. So we create this kind of arc, natural arc around the body. Where you strike the ball relative to the arc will decide whether you hit the ball with a draw and a hook, hit it straight, or whether you pull or slice the golf ball, okay? Now, a very simple way to look at this. If you catch the ball early on the arc with the face kind of square to that path, the ball will head off. Look here, if you catch it early, it will head to the right. If you catch the ball too late on the arc, it heads left. Add an open face to that, and hey presto, you've got your slice. Now, with Paul, he was creating this slice. Ball was setting off left of his intended target, and it was slicing off to the right-hand side. The very first thing I want you to look at, once you understand this arc, is how are you setting up? Because Paul knew he was coming over the top. He knew this, but he still wasn't able to cure it. He even aimed, he knew he needed to swing into out, so he even aimed his feet over that way, because he knew he needed to get the ball setting off of there, not over there. But none of that was working, because the most important thing was shoulder alignment and forearm alignment have the largest impact on your club direction through the impact area. I'll say that again. Your shoulder alignment and your forearm alignment have the greatest impact on the path that your club takes. And the problem with Paul was this. He knew he was hitting it too late on the arc. And the reason why that was is two things. Ball position was way too far forward in his stance. And as a result of that he was almost reaching for the ball. His shoulder alignment and forearm alignment are where? They're aiming here. So what part of the arc are they on? They're already on this part. The swing door's already open. He's already opened the door. This is straight. This is how he'd hit a straight shot. This is why he was slicing it, okay? So all we did as stage number one was get his ball position slightly further back in his stance. It's just inside 2 inches inside his lead heel. I then got him to kind of square off his shoulders. Now this felt very, very strange. He literally felt as though he was like over here. I said, just go with it, Paul, okay? Really exaggerate this motion. Really soften your trail elbow here. This was too much like this, softened it off. Now we got the sensation that his forearms and his shoulders were aiming for him a long way to the right-hand side. Now I put this kind of curve here. So what it meant was now he could start to attack the golf ball more on this part of the arc. And for him, I then said, look, imagine for you, because you've been so used to hitting this side of the arc too late, imagine you're going to catch the ball before the torso and the body turns back inside. So you're used to catching it here. Imagine you're going to catch it early, so before the swing door's closed, then around, okay? That's all we did, right? So that was stage number one. Immediately, the ball set off so much straighter. And of course it will do for you too, because this game is not rocket science. You know, it's never gonna set off straight if you're misaligned right at the start. You've got to give yourself the best opportunity. But that wasn't the finished article. We hit a couple of shots and it was so much better, but there was still this little fade going, this little curve left to right. And we need to get rid of that. And all that was now a bit of face control. Now, Paul, what we're going to teach you now is we straightened it up, but we also got rid of his biggest power leak with this. See, Paul had been trying to square the face up without him realizing with the whole of the right shoulder here, it was kind of twisting. But watch what's happened to my shoulder if I try and square the face up like this and try to stop it from maybe slicing. It's working away from the body. And also I'm hitting it now where again? Late on the arc. So you're losing real inconsistencies when it starts to float around like this. You're never going to hit that draw because it's working the wrong direction. You've lost all power as well, because power is when you connect all this side going through. This is power, like almost like an uppercut or a topspin shot in tennis. It's a powerful motion which is more connected. So I said to him, look, we've got to do two things here. Hold the club out in front of me, and the movement of this club face happens through the movement of the forearms, not this shoulder like this. So literally just get the forearms, just, there you go, it's easy to play around with the face. The second thing I want you to do, I really need you to feel this power coming through the shot, so we get some consistency and some control over this. So all I did was got him to stand with the club up in front of him, just tilt back a little bit here, so the shaft's more like this, and then literally drop the shaft straight down, put it behind him a little bit, and then really feel like the trail shoulder here is working underneath, yeah, as opposed to over, which is what he was doing. You see the difference when you roll his shoulder? He's now working underneath through the impact area. Now he had power through the shot. He could play around with the forearms to kind of get that control. I'll show you how you do that consistently in a second. But that then immediately started to add some serious distance and accuracy just after a few shots. It was amazing. So all I want you to do, get yourself set up, make sure the ball position is good, make sure your shoulder alignment is good, it's not over here. And for Paul, he had to really exaggerate this, and then start to make a few swings, and I'll go into a second how we made this really, really consistent. And that is pretty much what we saw. Beautiful draws that were getting in 20 plus yards. Now he was ecstatic, as you can imagine, but you know, halfway through the session, then suddenly the draws started to get overdone. We started turning them into a hug. Now he was quite happy because he'd never seen these things before, but just like riding a bike, when you fall to the left, you often overdo it by falling to the right, but then you learn how to ride that bike by learning balance. Now, balance in a golf swing isn't the same as just balance. It's balance between where do you catch that ball relative to the arc, okay? So what I want you to now play around with is this. I got Paul to move the ball both left to right and right to left. And I did this by getting him to experience when he felt he was striking the ball relative to the arc. I asked him, look, feel like you're going to strike the ball early. What happens? Ball sets off a little bit right and it draws, Danny. Cool. Okay. A bit later. Oh, there's my fade. Great. So what you're trying to do is just find that balance between here and here somewhere in this vicinity, and it will feel different for us all. But that's the balance, and that's how you modify how straight you hit the shots. And that is, by the way, how as professionals become skilled, because we develop this skill. Sometimes we catch it too early, sometimes we catch it too late, but we basically kind of work on our balance between the two, and we improve our accuracy. So, do me a favor, if you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. Check this video out here, because I think it will complement this and work very, very well with this one. Thank you, Paul, for allowing me to share this video. And of course, look, if you're new to the channel, press that button down there. But until next week, have a wonderful golfing week.